I just have no words. She's just like Karen. The context of what she is talking about and the big ass grin across her face boggles my mind. The cognitive dissonance this woman, she is an attorney. This is so reckless. It is irresponsible and reckless. Mike, we know, is a paid shill. But these attorneys, the lawyer you know just came on and spoke about Proctor again. And it makes me sick. The irresponsibility of these people who have law licenses and they're out here doing what they do and saying the things they say with reckless disregard.
Thanks. I was hoping it was going to be great, but it is what it is. I wasn't expecting it to go her way. I really wasn't on that.
Yeah.
This is, you brought up Turtle Boy today, Aiden, because on the latest prosecution has put out a witness list and they have him on the list now. And it's funny because the judge Canoni said she was going to keep, all that stuff about witness intimidation and Aiden out of the first trial. She mostly did up to a certain point, and then she let witnesses just like Jen McCabe go off on, they're hard for my family. It
was Allie first, wasn't it? It was Allie that I can't remember the order, but I sort of remember that. Yeah,
I think it was the daughter. Yeah, she was probably the first one. So then now they're trying to bring him up as a witness. Like, how is that going to go? And is the judge again doing things one way one time and then changing things this time? Is she going to let them have Aiden Carney as a witness? And would they actually bring him on the stand? And what are they doing?
Let me just say this, Mike. Lots more information has come to light. A lot more of Karen and Jackson and Yannetti and Turtle Boy and all you fuckers. A lot of that has been revealed. And you have fucked around and you're gonna find out. You wonder why Hank is on this? Y'all wanna, rip on him? Why? Because he's going to demolish all of y'all.
How does Aiden Carney help the prosecution convict Karen Read for murder?
Oh my God. Really, Mike? And P.S. Mike totally knows that Karen Read is guilty. 100% knows. He's in on this. He knows what's going on. I believe Masshole Mafia has the episode on her channel where he came on and was like, oh my God, I almost, he was scared he was going to get arrested for this shit. And he was going to start reporting more objectively. And then Turtle Boy and all of his little minions threatened him. And he immediately changed his position back. You've heard this from Kevin, I'm sure, too. It's disgusting. He's spineless. Coward. Shill.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, so they are also asking, since this is a new trial, we're not bound by the previous rulings on the motions in limine, right? So this was also litigated before the first trial. She said, basically, no, this is too far afield. We're not going to get into that. Now we have a new trial. They get to ask again. The defense gets to ask again on certain other things and so forth. So she's considering it anew based on what's known at this particular point in time and kind of what the arguments are at this point in time. So Mr. Brennan is arguing that it's consciousness of guilt, that if she's direct.
Now watch her face as she gets into her context here.
For murder. I'm wondering.
Yeah, so they are also asking, since this is a new trial, we're not bound by the previous rulings on the motions in limine, right? So this was also litigated before the first trial. She said, basically, no, this is too far afield. We're not going to get into that. Now we have a new trial. They get to ask again. The defense gets to ask again on certain other things and so forth. So she's considering it anew based on what's known at this particular point in time and kind of what the arguments are at this point in time. So Mr. Brennan is arguing that it's consciousness of guilt, that if she's directing Turtle Boy, to go out and intimidate witnesses, or however the Commonwealth wants to kind of color this or characterize it, that is indicative of a guilty conscience, right? She doesn't want to get caught. She doesn't want to get convicted. So she's trying to, distort the system in the process so that doesn't happen. Now, this kind of evidence is fairly common. It's fairly common. I see it a fair amount.
It's fairly common, and it happens in domestic violence cases, she says, with a huge grin on her face. This is so disturbing.
In very common in domestic violence cases, just because it happens a lot.
And trust me, I have been a victim. I have been a victim of domestic violence. So, like, I totally understand what she's saying, but I certainly wouldn't be saying it with this reckless disregard without actually looking into. She's clearly seen some of these messages, so she knows the context. So what the hell is she talking about? This is totally normal. This is not totally normal. This is totally normal for Alan Jackson, where he intimidates people and blackmails people. But I've never seen this kind of absolute criminal witness intimidation.
Happens a lot. People work through the grapevine, or they, well, even just themselves on their recorded jail calls, be trying to get people to change their testimony and stuff. So it is fairly common for that type of thing to be admissible. The problem is, at least from what I personally have seen of the messages between Kara Read and Turtle Boy, the stuff that's been publicly out there for a little bit, there's nothing like that in it. She's sharing information with him. I think that's pretty clear, and that's pretty well established. But he's an investigative journalist. He has a platform. This is a high profile case. She's trying to clear her name. Like, it's really not at all the pretty clear situation it is when you got the guy on the jail phone calling the girlfriend who has the protective order against him, saying don't show up at court, and they can't do anything about it. So that's where I think this is still a bit of a reach, but it's going to come down to,
could we use your house to...
She handled the issue with Alan Jackson and the whole, candor to the tribunal issue that came up. She didn't like what she saw in that impounded Gretchen Voss, off the record part of the interview. She called out parts of that. She didn't like how Mr. Jackson behaved in that. And so I suspect, there's a possibility that type of thing can color her perspective on, what is Karen Read even trying to do here? Something like that. So.
Oh my God. Okay. That's it. I just can't. The disregard, the disrespect, the recklessness, the audacity. It's so disgusting.